Hi there, beautiful, lovely people. Sorry if I look tired. I just woke up from a nap. And you know what time better than to write that intro to my pod or record the intro to my podcast. And then right now, birds right there. Some kind of hurt. School lunch today was not the best, but school lunch. But yeah, I have three different videos I'm gonna upload. Go ahead and just give you a basis for, I think I'm gonna do two of them together and then one of them separate, so two of them are kind of shorter. One of them, I don't know. One of them is 20 minutes, one of them is 10 minutes, and one of them is 40 minutes. I got three different interviews from Dart Station. And the first one basically goes over this guy's personal experience, showing that he grew up in a gang and a religious household, and he rambles on a little bit, but it was a good interview, and I enjoyed it with him. Very blessed to get him on here. Would love to get him on again and hear more about his life story if you feel comfortable with that. But he was a bit in a rush and he was on his way to work. And the second one was interesting. I know y'all are gonna like that one because so right off the bat, I walk up to this guy, introduce myself, and he was sleeping, and straight up just told me that the racist. What's up, man? He wanted to be in the video again. I think I woke him up from his nap. But he straight up told me that the racists were at war, and we had a conversation about what I like to say is racial oppression, and how we can break free from that, how we can break free from our human nature. But it was a good conversation. Good guy. He tells us a bit about his life story towards the end there. And then the last guy, which is a whole video on itself, is Miguel. Miguel is the definition of love is poison. I eventually want to get that tattooed on my hand, but his story is a crazy story. Um, yeah, but I'll go ahead and do a separate video on him since I'm recording him or posting them differently. But trying to think. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoy the videos. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if there are any loud noises in the background, it's because I was at that station. Trains in the background. And then for some of the videos, it might seem a little bit choppy because I did have some technical difficulties. Might have had to turn off in the middle of one of the videos, and I kept recording because we were in the middle of conversation, and then my conversation with Hansen, and then in the video with Miguel same thing. But I'll go with that in this next intro. Peace. Hope y'all enjoy these videos. Go over your life experiences or what you've experienced in life. Would you like to hear a little bit about my life and what set me on this? Or basically, I sum it all up. I didn't have my brother most of my childhood. He was in and out of prison since the age of 12. Recently, he came out of prison for about 6 months, and he came out hard on crack. And from there, I saw how bad it was on his mental health. He said that he had visions from God and he was speaking to God, but at the same time, a lot of his actions were more closer to the actions of a devil. At a certain point, it got so bad that he beat my mom for a couple hours and got arrested. And even despite all this, I learned that my mom still loved him for being my brother, and it kind of made me realize that that's my brother, and no matter what, I have to love him, right? And it made me think about, if I'm willing to love my brother despite him doing that to my mother, I should love anybody despite what they've done in their lifetime. And yeah, man, that's why I've come out here, and I'd like to hear about what you experienced in your life.
Hey, bro. I'm up here. Hey, bro. Here, man. God bless you, buddy.
But yeah, I'd like to hear what you've experienced on your lifetime, and if you could create a perfect world, what would it look like?
It wouldn't look like this.
Wouldn't look like this. Everybody knows it wouldn't look like this.
It's a struggle for people, as you can see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot of struggling going on. And, if we have it, to me, if we have it, why not? You know what I'm saying? Help the people you see, you know what I'm saying, doing the things like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like seeing people around me like that. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Not if I got it in my pocket. If I got it in my pocket, I'm going to help. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give them something. You know what I mean? But the way the struggle got people going, and you know what I'm saying, it's academic and everything, prices going up, you know what I mean? People can't survive off of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You got people sleeping out here on train stations, on the corners, begging, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But God always say, you know what I'm saying, feed those, you know what I'm saying, if they're hungry, feed them. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Especially if you have it, but Everybody go through a struggle. It's part of life, but you know what I'm saying? You have to bounce back. You got to have the strength to bounce back. And not only that, you got to have God first. You know what I mean? I'm Jamaican and black. You know what I mean? I'm mixed, mixed culture. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And I see things a lot that I wouldn't want to see myself in a situation, nor my family in a situation like that. So, you know what I mean? My job, I say that God put me out here to, you know what I'm saying, look out for people, help people, you know what I'm saying?
You honestly are an angel from God. And
right, you know what I'm
seeing that
saying?
touched my heart a little bit.
And just, you know what I'm saying, give people knowledge a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It's hard out here, but it's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Keep God first, you know what I'm saying? Pray about it, you know what I mean? And He'll answer your prayer, no matter what you're going through, you know what I mean? But other than that, you know, I work every day, you know what I'm saying? I struggle sometimes, but I know how to bounce back, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, I had anything reckless, like, you know, I grew up in the game, you know what I'm saying? My whole family game bangers, you know what I mean? But I learned to step outside of that circle for a little while, you know what I mean?
That's a lot of respect, man. Not a lot of people
A
can get out of that.
bigger picture than, you know what I'm saying, the things that I was doing, you know what I mean? Like, it's more to life, it's a bigger picture than what it is, you know what I mean? That what people paint it to be like, but you make it how you want to make it, you know what I mean? You make your picture, you make your life the way you want to make your life, you know what I mean? It's your choices. God put you on here to have your own choices, to build and create, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't building, you ain't creating, then, you know what I'm saying,
You're
you wasting your
destroying.
time, you destroy, exactly, you know what I'm saying? So, I always tell people, just keep your chest down, keep your head up, you know what I mean?
If there was one thing you would tell, new generation of not just, kids, but minorities mainly, because I think systematic suppression is a real thing. I think minorities are pushed down a lot.
Right.
If you could tell them one thing to get them free from that, what would it be?
Stay focused. Keep God first. Just stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Stay focused, keep God first, and don't worry about what's going on around. You can't control what's going on around you. You know what I mean? Only God can do that. You know what I mean? So, you know, everybody's perception of different things, everybody had their own opinion about whatever, you know what I mean? But it's their opinion, you know what I mean? If that's not what you think and believe in, then it's not even in your hands to even put yourself in a situation like that, you know?
Yes, sir.
So you just have to step back and look, watch. That's it. Stay out of the way.
Do you mind if I ask you how you met God?
My family, church going, you know what I'm saying, very deep into that, you know what I mean? They prayer warriors and all that, you know. So, you know,
That's awesome, man.
God was always in my household, you know what I mean? In our household as a family, period, you know what I mean? My whole family, you know what I'm saying, grew up in churches, you know what I mean? I come from a town which, you know what I'm saying, from East Texas, they have nothing but churches. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you either went to the streets or you chose, you know what I'm saying, God, either or, you know what I'm saying? I chose both, actually, you know what I mean? Because, you know what I'm saying, the lifestyle I grew up in, you know, I had no choice.
Yes, sir, I
You
get
had
it.
to hustle and grind, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna hand it to you. Well, I just hand it to him, but still, you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody gonna hand it to somebody
You
that,
can't
you know,
expect someone to hand it to you.
right.
Someone may hand it to you, but at the end of that's God's will.
Right, that's not what you're expecting. You doing that from the heart, you know what I'm saying, stuff, you know what I mean, it's stuff like that, you know. But yeah, we grew up in a church house, you know. We knew who God was first before we knew anything else, you know.
And do you mind telling me a bit about your experiences in that lifestyle?
Precious. That's all I can say, precious. I mean, what else is there to say? You know what I'm saying? As long as you have me in your lifestyle, that lifestyle is good.
Yes,
That's where
sir.
you want to be at. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be in no negativity and no, you know what I'm saying? You want to always stay positive and know that he there for you no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
There's people out here that's committing suicide or something that, you know what I'm saying, it's not even that serious, you know? You just have to focus and set your plans and set yourself in place to where you want to be at. The moves you make is the moves you choose to make, you know what I mean? But when you make your move, you gotta make sure it's the right move that you make. Especially when you going making money or getting money, you know what I mean? You got to know what you're doing. You got to be on point at all times, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's a struggle out here, but you still gotta learn how to make it out here, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
No matter what, you know what I'm talking about? You always gotta keep God first and stay on your hustle, stay on your ground. Put things in position to where you know you got a plan. A man without a plan, you know what I'm saying?
That ain't a man. That ain't a man.
So you know how that is. So,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I appreciate you stopping, you know what I'm saying, talking to me.
Is your train right here, man?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. Honestly, way you gave that man money. I was planning on giving it to someone else, but you got it, man.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you have a great day, man.
Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you having me out here, man.
You continue to keep doing your thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Let me just try to get as many people as I can today. You know,
Right.
hopefully it can make a change tomorrow.
You never know.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No problem, man. You have a great day.
You too.
Real quick, Jesus Aguilar out here, second video today. Would you like to introduce yourself, or would you like to keep your name and face off camera? It's completely up to you.
No, I want to stand up for the white people. I'll take a name. Hansen.
His name is Hansen. I met him out here at the Garland train station, and we're just gonna simply have a conversation today, man. All right. Sorry about that.
So yeah, you say that white people's egos are too big or too strong, but I think it's black people's. You know, that they have that alpha male mentality. So and then, you know, we try to say that we do let people in. You know, like we're the migrants. You know,
Yeah.
A country of migrants, but. You know, I think that's false too. But I wouldn't say that we are we're negligent about it.
I think that a big problem is that a large portion of white people tend to ignore that minorities do get, you know, less, and I think a lot of them tend to believe that everybody's equal, and that they like to ignore the fact that there isn't essentially a race war out there, if you like to put it that way. But I like to think that it's because the big people on top, you know, everybody knows that they're white, right? These are the people that create things, that invent things, you know, they're the reason that we get so technologically advanced, right? But as soon as an African-American person or a person of color gets into that, they master it. And I think that the biggest issue is the fact that a white person knows this, so a white person's never going to give an African-American person that opportunity, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think an African-American person, or even a minority, even as a Hispanic, I think their pride is too big to bow down to a white man and be like, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for putting me in this position. Please let me do what I can do. And it's insane because if you look throughout history, like Frederick Douglass or a bunch of different people, they get essentially called less of a minority because they bowed to a white person to push their race one step further.
I do sales, like anything in the background, in the backyard. It's kind of like people with money are going to spend money when they want it.
Mm-hmm.
So you say that we are people are minority and they're kind of neglected, but I think that's false. It's like they everybody lives the way they want to. Everybody gets what they want. When they want it, they go for it until they get it, right?
Yes, sir.
So I mean, that's what I think about it. But and we do clash though when maybe
I think it comes up to money.
they've already get it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Like, I truly believe that money is the root of all evil. You know, if I had cash on me, I'd probably give it to you. But it's the fact that people's life is based around money. If you can't get money, if you're not getting money, you're going to find a way to get money, even if it goes through breaking your morals or doing something bad to someone else. And I think that whenever you look at it, it's like it's always money and power. If you look at what happened in Africa with the whole slave trade, the Africans, the people of West Africa kind of did it to themselves because they sold the slaves to the Europeans for weapons. Why did they do that?
Yes.
They did it to gain more power.
Look,
and to get.
They did that here with the Yankees, and I mean that's how it started. Like, you know, they hold it over us still today. You know, oh, well, you know, you work me like a slave. No, your people sold you to me for land, for weapons, for food. So it's not slavery. We didn't enslave you. It was a business, and money is money is the game. It's the game of life. It's money.
I think. See, I like to think that that's where life has gone wrong. The fact that people focus and think about money as being the game. But I've given up my heart to God, and I've tried to invoke that in people. And I think that whenever you give up your heart to God and stop worrying about money and start worrying about helping others, then God's just gonna give you money. Then you're never gonna have to worry about money. You're never gonna worry about anything, because essentially, if you're following God's path or God's light, God's gonna put that step there for you. You know, it's like they say, whenever you're trying to cross a lake or a river, you know, you can barely see the rocks and you're just stepping. Well, if you have blind faith in God, you're not stepping, you're just going, because you know that rock is there.
I got two things. Faith isn't the definition of believing something that you can't see. That's not faith. Faith is an action, right? In the book, he tells you, tell them I am. You know, but share my story. You gossip, and lose my train of thought.
You got it, man. Take your time.
And then God, look, what I learned. Starting, in Joshua or the Tower of Babel, like my God that I read about he's evil. It doesn't mean you can't respect him or whatnot, but he ran people out of nations. He flooded the world. He destroyed the Tower of Babel. Nothing but evilness. I'm 30 years old. It's been hard on me, but I'm patient and fine. I'm waiting for what comes to me, whatever may come.
I think, this is where I think that it's essentially, I like to view as God as being two pieces, yin and yang, how they say day and night. And I think this is why under God's light, there is no such thing as good and evil. I think that in the Bible, whenever you read of God's bad actions, God says throughout the Bible that he didn't want to do these actions, but he saw how bad man had become and how corrupt man had become, and he believed that this was the only way to get rid of man or get rid of man's evil, bad actions. And if you read the scripture right after the flood, God goes on to say that I feel sorrow for what I have done to man, and I promise I would never have a mass extinction of this kind like man. And I think that's what makes God perfect. The fact that God is trying to figure out how to handle humans, because humans have free will, and he can't control us. I think that he can set a plan, or he can set stones, or he can put somebody in your path to give you the right light, but he can't control us. It's up to you to, follow his light. But I think God is trying to figure out how to get everybody under his light. And I think that's where the story of Jesus Christ comes in.
Yeah, and I believe, you call me Jewish or whatever. I don't know what I am really. I try to believe. I love to believe, and that there is something. Like you got TV, you got cars, you have all these things that
wouldn't be possible without God.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's alien.
Yeah,
it's alien or it's God. But yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you'd like to share, man? Because, I like to think that the big issue is the fact that we look at ourselves as races or as different people. You look at yourself as a white man.
Everybody's got a race card.
Yeah, and I think that's the issue. The fact that everybody has a race card and everybody uses that race card. I think as soon as you let go of your race and you accept the fact that you're just human, and the fact that you can help someone, like me and you right now, we're having a conversation. This wouldn't be acceptable in the 50s, 60s. I'd be looked at as a minority. I'd be, this would be a white person bench right now, and I'd have to sit on the ground and talk to you right now. But I think as soon as we start to let go of that and we start to step away from that, and we start to realize that even men and women, like throughout the Bible, God is referred as he and man, right? What do those two words create? He, man. Human. That's all it is. All God is human. All God loves is human. I think that's all we need, man.
Yeah, one more thing, I think about, we're at war, not that we are. I just entertained the thought, and we're still a very young nation. In England, where we came from, or wherever, maybe Spain, I forget, Columbus from Spain or whatnot.
Yeah,
I don't really remember, but we are probably really down there. Everybody says America's great. Yeah,
200
but we are
years.
too young.
That's not anything.
Exactly.
I think America, if you look at what the founding fathers had in plan for America, it's a beautiful ideology. I think the fact that it was run by a bunch of, only white people, I don't think it should just be ran by white people. I think it should have a mash of everybody and everything in there.
We have the UN.
See, even the UN isn't necessarily, because it's, European countries that are Caucasian countries that tend to have the main power of all that. I think the UN is a lot worse than the U.S. government, to be honest. But I think that the basis and the foundation of the U.S. Constitution is a good constitution. It's the fact that it has always been misled and misinterpreted and used to make more money. I think that the U.S. is the fact that the U.S. revolves around money. It's the fact that people go 8 hours to work and then don't have time after that.
What's weird about that? There's 3 state countries, which is it's like Washington D.C. That's an own country inside this country. All right, and you say we evolve around money. Well, England is the bank. There's 3 of them: England, the Vatican, and Washington D.C. And they work together. The Vatican is the religion, England or London is the bank, and we are the muscle. So we don't evolve around it. It's where we came from. The Queen, the King. We still,
and it's what we still follow.
We still fight for their money.
Yeah. I was watching a video, and it was actually talking about every single time somebody's born, whenever they're given a birth certificate, that's actually collateral against the U.S.'s debt, and it makes you a slave to the U.S. government, and essentially means that you're working the rest of your life to pay off their debt. It's a contract.
And there, it is.
And I think that's what we're getting. We're getting to the point where it's not even about race. It's not even about color. It's just about people being enslaved under under systematic oppression and people going
It's
to
over
work.
the money. It's over the game
It's
of
over
money.
the money, and it's sad because if you see the only people that are benefiting from the money are the rich, the wealthy, and the big corporations.
Yes,
and
corporate America.
And look at people like you and me. Like, I don't buy nice stuff. I don't care about nice stuff. But some people out there just can't get simple necessities of life. People struggle to get water. I've had people ask me just like I've helped people go inside and eat with me. I've had people like ask me for money, and I'll be like, hey man, you want to come get food? Like, hey man, I'll come, and they'll be happy to do that with me because they don't have the ability to get these simple necessities of life. And I think this is where life has gone wrong.
I agree.
You can keep going either way.
Yeah, my parents were great to me. You know, I was poor, I was rich. You know, I had it all. Suburbs, you know, the hood. I was all over the place. And you know, 20 years old, I finally got on my own side. I got on my own way. You know, I did very well for a year, but then drugs got into it. You know, I paid rent on 2 houses. I had 2 trucks. You know, I was doing really well. But you know, drugs got into it.
Can I ask you what your drug was? If you're
I'd rather not. You know.
All right, no problem. Yeah, I get it. If you'd like to hear a little bit of my past and what really woke me up to doing this is the fact that my brother was kind of in and out of prison his whole life. He had a rough childhood.
That's what I'm going through right now.
Yeah, and recently,
Brother.
recently whenever he came out, he was on crack, and it got to the point where his mind and his mental health got so detrimental and so bad that he laid his hands on my mother because he didn't know what he was going on. He didn't know what was going on at the moment, and this kind of woke me up to the reality that drugs are kind of that, you know, when it comes up to certain drugs like man-made drugs like crack, meth, you know, cocaine, all these different things, they're physically addictive, which means that if you take it one time, your body is hooked and your body needs it, and you will be taking it for the rest of your life.
I agree.
And
but look. I hate to interrupt.
You're good.
Go ahead.
You got it.
Yeah, you got to think about medicines though. You got the pharmacies and shit, which is
Same
different.
thing.
It's different, and it's you know, whatever. It's acceptable, they say. But I think, and my father taught me this, is that if you need drugs to self-medicate, which everybody self-medicates nowadays, you're not an American if you're not high.
That's a good way to put it, man. I'm not gonna lie.
You should be able to go to a doctor and get a line of cocaine if you need that. You should be able to go to a doctor and get a joint if you need that.
See, I think that the biggest issue is the fact that we've become culturally accepted of things like cocaine, things like crack,
Yeah,
things like meth.
it's the thing.
I think we should push away from unnatural drugs. And honestly, if you want to smoke pot, smoke pot. If you want to pop something natural, pop something natural. If you want to do something, you know, natural, stay natural, because at the end of the day, those things aren't physically addictive. They're more psychologically, meaning that if you keep going back, it's because you want to go back, but it's not essentially where your body feels like it needs it or it's craving it, or you're sitting there starving yourself to, you know, just get a bit of crack. And I think that you got it.
Some people, you know, I lost it.
You good? Take your time.
They do drugs, and then right. Some people say that it's a high just to go for the drug. The pursuit of the drug is a high. Well, I think that's true, and I think the healing of it is also like, you know, you smoke a joint, you want to sober up, so you smoke another joint. That's a part of the high. It's everything we do is a high. It's a step by step by step.
I think that, like, honestly, I'm not against weed. I've, you know, smoked pot in my life, but I think that the biggest issue is the fact that a lot of people are just looking for that high. Mm-hmm. I think nobody should ever need a high to be happy, and I think that if you start looking for a high to be happy, this is whenever pot becomes a gateway drug where you need more of it. You know, the high's not hitting the same. You want to take more pot, and eventually, what does it lead to? It leads to things like crack, you know, lace stuff, because you just want a stronger high. And I think that we need to push away from the fact, or we need to focus on our mental health and what is making us so mentally unhealthy to a point that we're searching a high. See, me, I've become a happy person at all times. You know, with or without drugs, I'm just enjoying life. I'm happy, and I think that that's the baseline for anybody that wants to be able to experiment. Because what starts a psychological addiction is some sort of problem in your life that you can't fix. So you begin to seek a way to get comfort or, you know, ignore that problem, and that's where you introduce pot. And then from there, if that problem isn't fixed within a couple months, that pot isn't hitting us hard. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to something harder, and this is where people get hooked on there. This is why I'm trying to bring light to. What do you think about that?
You lost me. To suppress it, I mean, like you say, it's addictive, and sometimes it hurts you, and you know, I think it's I'm patient with everything. I'm you know, but I think that you know, maybe it's for the losers. You know, the money game. We pursue drugs because we can't pursue money because they won't let go of it. So suppress it. You can suppress it, but you know, maybe some people need something to do, so they go for the drugs.
I think we should push away from the fact that we revolve around money and go back to more of a smaller, simpler time where we support local farmers. Everybody's kind of living more of a naturalistic life, and I think that the closer we get to nature, like have you ever just looked at a tree and been like, man, that is a pretty tree?
It's scary as hell. Look, and I just learned something. No, way off topic.
You're good.
Trees talk to each other. They actually have a language. I watched it. They did a study where they wrapped the tree up, and
I've seen it before. Yeah.
Yeah, and one tree sent something.
It's the vibrational frequencies, and they can kind of tell whenever you're going to do something bad. It's insane because everything is a living organism, and I think that once we start to accept nature as being alive and being one entity, and you start to love nature as the way you would love God, this is when people start to push away from drugs. This is when people start to live a happier life. Like if you look at anybody that lives on a farm or just lives naturally, they tend to be happy, healthy people, right? Any farmer, anybody that just out there. They may struggle sometimes to make money. They may, struggle to make meat end, but they're happy because they're living a natural life. I think the more that you put people in society, or more you put them in a box, or more you put them in a building that makes them feel like a caged bird, is the more that they're going to start seeking out that high. I think the best thing we can do is get off that high is go back to more of a natural living way. Not only just going back to the Stone Age, I mean finding a balance.
Like you say like we gotta smoke a joint. When we sober up, it's not working anymore. So if we went back, what if that's bad for us? What if that's everybody says we're going forward with technology, but so to abandon that could be.
I don't mean to go forward, or I mean to go back. I mean to kind of stop where we're at, rebuild society, kind of make it a better world, because I think right now our world is too imperfect for us to be trying to be better people or trying to be becoming more technologically advanced. I think we should focus on the people first before we start focusing on technology. And I think that once we start building each other up, I think positivity is like a game of tennis. If you send someone positivity and they send it back, it's just building each other up. And I think you can see it in sports.
That's a battle. It's a fight.
But that's the thing. It depends on which way you look at that fight. If you look at that fight as a fight to the death, then it's a fight to the death. But if you look at that fight as a fight to get both of y'all better, or to put y'all both in a better face, like best example I can use is the boxing match. Two people, when they box, if they're boxing for the art of self-defense, it's an art. You see them dodging, missing. They're both getting hits and missing, right? But if two people go in there to kill each other, they're just gonna fight like dogs, and someone's gonna end up knocked out at the end of the fight. And I think that this is the best way to put it. Negativity is two people going in there like dogs. But positivity is two people going in there to make each other better. And I think if everybody in society just tries to make everything better, or tries to build each other up, then, this is whenever we'll get close to God, man. It's whenever we'll reach a new level.
Amen.
You believe with that, man?
I could agree with that.
Anything else you'd like to share before walk around a little bit more? Or
I'm all right, man.
All right, I appreciate having you today, man. Do you got a phone or something? I can take your number. All right, no problem, man.
I mean, I can give you a number, but it's not my number.
No problem. I'll take